Hey everybody, welcome to episode 5. Today is a new calendar day for me, so I have to kind of get reacquainted with where I was at. In case you're curious, I am not just doing this back to back to back. I'm kind of filling in some time slots in my day in between other work to do this. So it's going to be a little bit of trying to remember where I left off each time, but that's probably useful for everybody else. So let's take a look at where we're at in the repo. Oh, yes, I remember now. So the last time I checked, we were going to decide which I wanted to filter down the population of data from about 1,400 to something more manageable and more meaningful. And I computed a bunch of different values here. The median views, the max views, the change, all that stuff to see if there's some way to quantitatively filter it down. And I thought about it some more and talked about it with Amber. And I think I'm going to go with this one right here. Mostly because I think doing a share of the traffic is, first, it's normalized across every day. So if there is variation in daily or traffic, from 2015 versus 2018, that'll be accounted for. And then also, it's a nice solid number, which is like pretty easy to get your head around, 0.1%. Not as easy as page views, but 0.1% ends up being approximately 250K page views for the most part. There's a couple that are less than that, but we can, use this maybe in a text to just give an approximate of what 0.1% actually means. Also, I think it makes most sense to filter by the max views, because the whole point of this story is looking at when, I guess, people start searching a lot for it, and it's all about the traffic. So the change is kind of interesting when you see someone go from, like 10 page views on average to like 10,000. But 10,000, for example, doesn't really mean much in the world of Wikipedia. So I think I want it to be something that's relevant and also kind of yield interesting results that people will be able to, I guess, relate to. So if we had like 500 data points in here, most of those people would not be recognizable to the layperson. If we reduce it to like this kind of 100-ish, 200-ish number, I think it'll be much less noise. So anyways, those are all the reasons. The other nice thing is I can just come back at any point in time and tweak these values if I want to change direction a little bit. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and run this. Also, don't need to worry about sorting it. Let's see. Okay. And we should get out filtered CSV, which gives us 130 people. I guess I can keep these numbers. But for now, all we know is that we only care about these people right here. So the rest of our operations can be done on this subset. So if we go back over to this kind of doc that I've been working in to kind of just keep track of where I'm at, I think I'm fairly confident that that step is kind of complete. Where's my strike through? Oh, there it is. All right. So I was gonna merge everything into a single file. I'm not so sure that actually makes the most sense right now. I mean, because that's gonna be basically there's a lot of so let's see what we'd be dealing with. we would be dealing with 130 times about 1,000 rows per person. That's 130 times 1,000. That's 130,000 rows. That seems unnecessary to have all the meta information as well. So it might make more sense to actually just keep one file which has their information, and then one file which just is like a crosswalk to their ID and page views, and keep those things a little separate. Maybe that's what I'll do now. So I'm going to make another new, just full screen here. Let's go ahead and make another new file. And first, actually, let me commit this. Back. Population choice. All right, so this is going to be our list of who to use. And then let's take a look at the other things we have. This is our master list, which has all this information. We do have it, actually, we already joined it with, let's say, the Explore. Oh no, Explore is something we just created, so we can actually maybe combine those. So if in case we care about these data points. And then we have the people joined. Okay, so people joined actually has all that excess information, when all we really care about is from this one is percent traffic and views and timestamp. All right, so we're gonna, I probably didn't need to do this join before, but we have it, so we might as well just use it. All right, so I guess this new file is going to be called, let's call it cat. Or you know what? The goal here is to create the final output ready for web presentation. So I'm really just going to call it prepare web, because that's what it's doing. So too bad at naming, so. Prepare web. As part of the goal here is to reduce the file size to be as small as possible, so it loads a little bit efficiently. So let's go to some of this stuff so we don't have to rewrite everything from scratch. We're going to be loading a few different data files here, so let's start with all deaths. Actually, so let's use this as like our base. So we'll load all deaths. Data, we'll call this one just all. Plus all deaths. This is basically like, all right, our master list. The other thing, we've got explore. We don't care about explore, we care about filtered. So const filtered is same deal. We're really just going to use this to reduce that. And then the other data set we need to eventually load is each file of people joined, but we're going to do that in a loop. So first step is to reduce data all. So we're going to filter it. Data. Filtered was a terrible name. Let's call it sample. It's like our reduced, or maybe population. So data, so then let's call this data all filtered. Will be all.filter. And so we only want to keep it if we find it in population. So if we find, so if population include, actually, population, we'll just quickly take out, map over it and just return link. So it'll just be an array of those IDs. So then here we can simply filter by population links dot includes p.link. And if I go ahead and log data all filtered dot length, should see it be 100 and what is it, 130. All right, npm run web. Right, clean is not a function just yet. I don't know if we're even going to need it actually, so because I don't make calculations. 130, perfect. So now basically that means we've reduced this thing, which has all this information, down to the 130 that was in this list. Next thing we want to do is I guess we can grab all this data for some reason if we want it. Let's see. Say we want to map over data all filtered in a new object, which includes everything that was already in there. So we'll call it with calcs. And it's going to look in population, find the, or sorry, I can't use the, I already used the p dot link, so find the matching object and then deconstruct it. So we're going to get all the properties from there as well. And let's just go ahead and log out the first one to make sure that those two items have been joined together. Awesome. Okay, so this is going to be like our main file, or one of our data files of the people. And so that's good. So we'll write that out. fs.write file sync / output. Let's just call it people.tsv. But I'm actually going to create a new folder because this is like the final folder thing that I want to share, because output right now is being hidden. So it's actually output there is now going to be, or maybe more specifically, web data. So this one I won't hide, so it'll be pushed up to the repo. Okay. And we need to format it. I could just do one giant JSON file as well, but I don't know. I often prefer working with CSVs. It really does make a difference one way or another. Actually, maybe I'll calculate both and we can see which has a smaller file size. Sounds like a great idea. So people output equals d3.csv format books output. That's great. And then final step. So basically all this was preparing the people file. Now I want to actually go through and create a single CSV file of all of the people from here and all of their daily pages. So let's map. Let's say const people. daily data equals people with calcs, I guess is the most recent one, dot map. And we are going to grab the page views. So that's page views. This is the person, and we're going to load their file, fs.read file sync. I need to recreate this. I've done this a bunch. Okay, so that's the data, and we actually don't care about all of it. We really just care about timestamp, views. Do I have this one? That's link. Yeah, I do have that. Timestamp and views and percent traffic. So return timestamp, views, traffic. Those don't exist yet, but we can actually just deconstruct it right here. Timestamp is percent traffic. That doesn't make sense. Right, we actually went through data.map and just returned those 3 items. So completely ignore that. Timestamp. Actually, we can just deconstruct it here. Timestamp. It's a little weird, but it's returning a new object with just those 3 things. Let's output. And let's just say return output. Cool. So, and then that's going to return this. Wait, where is it? Here, daily data. But we want to do our magic trick to flatten it because it's going to be an array of arrays. So now it's one big array. Lied, we need to somehow map it to the person. So we actually need to keep link, which is the way we're identifying everything. Make sure that's in there. And then same thing here, format it. Whatever page it is. Lovely. Cool. Let's go ahead and run it. See what we got. Right, it's not going to be an output. It's going to be in web data. And I only see people because I overrode it. Smooth page views. Well, that's great. We have all those things, even though we probably won't use them. But it's there in case. Page view should be pretty big. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. Awesome. Let's take a look at where that went wrong. All right, so get page views. Oh, I forgot that. Almost. It got two of the variables. It didn't get link or percent traffic. Let's find out why not. Even though link and percent traffic are both there, that's curious. Blank. Percent traffic. Oh, I used the wrong one. Shoot, drawing. I wish I knew the shortcut for collapsing a folder. Ah, much better. Actually, I mean, I could reduce it. Let's look at what the file size is. Web data ls.lash. Oh my god, that's huge. So 8 megabytes is definitely unacceptable. So we can definitely do a couple of things here. For starters, we can get rid of the /wiki. We can, it looks like that's always 00, so we can definitely tweak that timestamp. And then we certainly don't need that many decimal places for traffic, so we can truncate all of those things. So for starters, let's just write a little function to grab the ID. Function ID. So we can have it in both places. So it's a const ID equals get ID person.link. Then return that instead of link. And then other place we'll need it is bada boom right here. And this is actually p.link. And then what were the other things I said we were going to do? So timestamp, we want to cut off those last two zeros. I mean, we know it's year, month, day, or year, whatever. There's eight characters, so we can just say time slice or substring, excuse me, 0, 8. Views we're not touching. Percent traffic, we'll just do to fixed. So percent traffic to fixed. Actually, it's not a number right now, so let's convert it to a number and then to fixed. How many decimal points do we need? I mean, just do 10. I mean, so those things could definitely be lower than that, so hold on. 0.0000 0. Okay, nothing goes that far. So we need that many. That's 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll do 8. All right, let's run that again and see what type of improvements we get. Don't get improvements, we get errors. Oops, this needs to be capitalized. Next. Order of operations here. Look at that. It looks a little cleaner. Those look more usable. I bet we got it down about half as much. All right, 5 megabytes. That's still a crap ton. So at this point, that would still be bigger than something I'd be comfortable with. JSON's actually, let's see what JSON is. JSON has all that extra stuff with it, you know, with the colons and the brackets. So I have a feeling, but you don't have the duplication, right, of having the ID every time. That's really the only thing we're duplicating though. Let's see what happens. So let's say to combine those two things, I think, well, let me just do it the quickest way. Try JSON. So we could just take our page view data and nest it by ID. So we can just say d3.nest entries is page view data. We're going to key it on ID. Looks like console log page views of 0. Look at the first one. Yep. So it has all those things nested. The key, wow, is going to be way up there. So we just want to run through our people, or with calcs. I'm going to change this now. People data. We want to loop through our people data dot map, and basically just add another property, which is going to be called page views. And that is going to be nested page views dot find d dot key is equal to can't use d again. P for page view equal to d dot id, and then grab the values array. So page views is going to be an array. However, we also still have, if we look at that log, it still retained ID. Let's actually go through nested page views. I'd actually do a roll up here. Up, D, and let's see, that's an array of the values. We actually just want to say values b dot map values. Object. So we're just going to return specifically things. Doing this. Now instead of values, it's value, because that's what happens when you do a roll up. All right, fs, and we just want to stringify this. So const people output, we should say output JSON. Sorry, not D3. JSON.stringify. I mapped that to nothing. And then fs.write_sync. Okay, let's run that. Error. Can't find d.value. Let's nested pages 0. Feel like I did something wrong here. Oh, unexpected token. Oh, doesn't want to call in. That's right. Let's look at data.json. It's taking a while to load. That's not a good sign. So ID should eventually be an array page views. There we go. And it has those things. Oh yeah, this is going to be so much bigger because I forgot it has a property value of each thing. Not even close. There you go. JSON loses all that. So this is about as good as we're going to get here, I suppose. Eventually, there's a couple things that happen. I might end up actually reducing. I might not want the daily page views for everybody. I might just want it for a select group of people and then just have the actual lines for all the other people, more like this kind of trend looking thing. The other thing is, I mean, I could take this in a tiny bit, but that's really not going to save me much. Yeah, I could like really micro optimize. Like I could change 2015 to just 15 and then add that back in. I could definitely cut all these decimal places out, even though I already established that. Yeah, anyways, there's things I could do, but it's not going to be monumentally different. So I think right now this is totally fine for like my next phase, which is going to be actually exploring this data visually. And 5 megabytes locally is going to be unnoticeable. So yeah, let me go ahead and check this in. I do pair, oh yeah. So GAC, pair data for web. Though I did just realize that there's one more step actually of data stuff that we, I think, wanted to do. Using we, like you actually have a say in this. We're good there basically, but format strike through. There actually is other data we might want to grab. So let's see, I only have about 15 minutes here. So maybe we can actually look at starting to scrape some other wiki data so that I can like be totally done with the scraping and have that off my plate. So then I can really just focus on the viz. All right, whew, one more step. Actually, we might come back to this web thing and we'll add in like another piece. but for that's okay. So let's see here. We have explore filtered. Let's look at filtered. So let's use filtered because we have the link in there. And we'll run through this, and I think use this to decide if we want to scrape from the web. So let's just start by looking at one of them so we can get a sense of what the page looks like. Okay, so interesting. So like this one doesn't have cause. So I was hoping that we could like scrape the info box essentially and grab the information in there. We have this. We have this. We don't have the nationality. That is definitely not going to be a factor in my story. Same with education. We kind of have occupation. It's let's see what his actually says. Okay, so I like these ones because they're a little more descriptive. They're not going to be as useful for if we want to do some sort of categorization. So it might be helpful to grab this, assuming this is consistent. Let's pick like another person who's the one at Roswell Butler. I wonder if it says like athlete or that's a lot of different information. His doesn't say occupation. This could be a nightmare. This might not be worth it. This might be something that is actually better done after the fact, that once we've picked out the people, and then just do a little manual desk research to fill in some stuff. Okay, I take it back. We're not doing that. All right, so then I guess that means we're just about we're good with the data we have. I think, yeah. So let me go and update this. So this is actually not a data task. Let's say will be done with manual desk research once we narrow it down. Cool. So yeah, now I'm definitely in a place where I'm ready to like start visually exploring this. Most people would, gravitate towards using R and what do they use? ggplot and Python and all the fancy things people use. Matplotlib. Obviously, I didn't analyze this data in either of those programs. That's not my comfort zone. So I actually just will jump to D3 because that's where I prefer JavaScript. So let's see. This is kind of exploration, so I don't think I need to create a new repo. Let's see. I'll put it in here, I guess. When I ultimately create like the actual project, like the full story repo, that's its own thing. I usually keep my data processing and web separate. We have a whole build for web development. So I guess right now I only have a couple minutes. I guess I'm just gonna set up my exploration, and the next episode we'll actually start getting into it. So let's see. I'll put it in here so you guys can check it out as well. What should I call this? Right there. Exploration. Great. So I'm a huge proponent of blockup. I've mentioned it a whole bunch. my buddy Gabriel at the Washington Post put this together. And it's a way to just create a block super quick, but it uses ES6, library loading, and my go-to CSS preprocessor stylus. So it just makes it crazy easy to get up and running with a prototype, and also you can quickly publish it as a block. So there's that benefit as well if you want to share it. So yeah, I have it installed locally or on my machine already. So I'm just going to go ahead and say block up. And what just happens? Oh, do I not have installed? Oh, it's just switched versions of Node. That might be it. That's interesting. I might not be using blockup right now. I wonder if a pre-existing one works. Oh, so it doesn't. Let me uninstall it globally and reinstall it maybe. This would be a bummer. I don't think there's any other dependencies. This should usually be a lot quicker if I was in video recording. Apologies. Okay. Phew. Sorry, don't worry about this thing. This is an old thing. Great. So, and just like that, it creates a new project and it starts serving it immediately. If we actually open our code, you'll see it created a bunch of stuff for us. The only things we care about are this index.html file, which is very minimal, as you can see. And then it also created, and just to show you it's doing live reloading. As we change and save, it's updating, which is great. So we'll actually, I don't know what we'll have. We'll just have a main tag in here. And it has a style file with all our stylus needs. So body, red. If you haven't used a preprocessor, they're amazing. Stylus, you can abandon all colons and stuff like that. And again, you can do variables. So if you have like, and we also had, I don't know, p tag, background. You want to update them all at once, you just, can do a variable. There's all sorts of crazy stuff you can do with stylus. And like also nesting. So if you want to only target p tags within the main, you'd usually have to do like main p, but it does intuitive indenting. So it just means any p tag within a main tag. So stylus, needless to say, that's a thing. I'll put all our CSS here. And then all our JavaScript goes in the script file. He has like a little pre-baked thing, which is kind of the default size used on blocks. So we can actually, might as well just use this. We're just doing a little exploration. And let's see, SVG. Actually worked. There you go. Really not responsive or anything. It's just a hard-coded 960, but for exploration point purposes, that is totally cool. Let's go with something. All right. So yeah, I guess the first things first is let us bring over our data. I'm actually going to, let's say, actually, this is like the last thing I'll do. I like to, let's just close this or stop it from running. I always like to make a make file. So just like when I'm updating my data a lot, if I'm rerunning the data processing, it's helpful to just not have to like go in the Finder and just copy and paste those files over. So I'm just going to create a make file. Code. And then in here, I'll just have a command called copy data. And all it's going to do is navigate up the previous directory and grab, what do I call it? Shoot. Page views and people. People.csv to actually my folder here. And just do the same thing with pages. Actually, probably just in star.csv. So let's see what happens when I run this. Make copy data. We should now see a data folder with the data. So basically, if I update the data, I just run that and I'll have the latest. And let's just do the first things first, a quick little slow the data, and then we'll go. Const people data equals CSV data slash people.csv per response. What the heck is that? For some reason, response is the number of rows. I feel like I'm missing a step here. Oh, I have it backwards. That's really weird. Have I not used D3 CSV, the new CSV or something? D3 CSV. I've been using Jetpack recently to load all my data, so maybe that's why. I swear there's supposed to be an error as the first thing. Oh well. Well, there's the data. We can get to work on the next episode. See you, everybody.